As usual, the first step is to find textures. I use a website called textures.com and I get a lot of image textures, also the transparent ones, and a lot of them just by searching them up. And I will leave the link in the description for you to see the website for yourself. Delete the default cube. We don't need that. Add a plane and simply rotate it to your liking. You also want to scale it up and down to make it look something of like a bush or something, whatever you're trying to create. You want to go ahead and turn on backface culling from this option because most game engines don't render the behind side of your mesh. So you want to turn that on, or unless you're going to be facing some pretty difficult issues after you're done creating a model. You want to go into the modifiers and you want to add solidify modifier. Search here, solidify, and you should get it. For the thickness, you want to apply something like 0.000001 because that, or else your model will look thick and you don't want it to look thick. And make sure to apply it and your backface culling issue should be fixed. Okay, time for a material. You want to add a new material, rename it so that you don't lose it, and then you want to change the surface type to an image texture and go ahead and grab one of those image textures that you downloaded. This is why I told you to download only transparent ones because they're easier to work with. I'm going to select this bush textures because texture. Go into material preview to look at your gorgeous bush. Okay, maybe it's not that gorgeous, but we're going to make it gorgeous. Hit to the UV editing, and from here on, you also want to change it to material preview. Hit U on your keyboard and you should get this menu. And from here, view to project from view, and from there you should be able to do this, and this actually allows you to change the projection from whatever the hell to whatever the hell you're looking on the view. This is easier to work with. Once you do that, then you should be able to edit the individual vertices on your model. Each corner has a single vertice. That's why you have 4 vertices here. If you subdivide it more, you should get more vertices, but more on that later. You want to edit it until you just find something that looks just about right, and you also want to scale up the model of your mesh, like your mesh, to remove the excess parts or something. For me, I think this looks something nice. This is about, I'd call this a bush. It's a 2D bush, but it's still a bush. Something's not right. Oh, I know, bushes don't have these weird black edges around. So yeah, let's make this texture transparent because it's a transparent texture. Now, in most game engines, it's done by default, but since we're in Blender, I'm just going to do it manually. You want to go here and also set this to closest, the filtering. This will give you the classic PlayStation 1 style filtering. Rather than blurring out the texture, it will just create these individual blobs of pixels, which looks better because the PlayStation 1 didn't have texture filtering. You can also downsample the texture, but on Blender you can't do that, but on game engine you can, so I'm just going to skip that. From here on the this thing, you should change the blend mode to alpha clipped or alpha hash. Both work fine. This is what we will do to make our texture look transparent in Blender. Like I said, it's done automatically in the game engine. You want to go into the shading tab over here and you should see something like this. Don't worry, it's nothing. Just drag the alpha to the alpha slider, and that should give us our transparent bush. Now, as you can see, it's still a 3D bush, but it's still 2D. It's in a 3D space, but it's 2D. You want to shift D to duplicate the bush that's originally there, and then from there you're going to go to the rotation tab and rotate the bush so that it creates something like this. You want to duplicate that again by shift D, and then rotate that to this and as well. And as you can see, it looks kind of 3D, and you want to change this surface thingy to 0, which makes it look like this. And like, again, it's only for Blender. You don't need to do this on the game engine because we're going to be using a shader on the game engine anyway. But if you're rendering a scene in Blender, this is what you should do to make it look just better, to make it not shiny and not reflect light the way it did on the original PlayStation. And you want to select everything, Control J to parent, like connect all the objects together because they were individual things, but now they're all together. You want to select one mesh, then hit A on your keyboard to select everything, and then you just want to Control J and complete together, merge them together. You want to do this exact same process for another one, but this time we're going to create the mesh a bit longer because we're going to be creating a tree, and trees are longer than bushes. Yes. Add a material and rename it so that you don't lose it. Select the tree texture that you downloaded. Oh look, we have an upside down or a sideways tree. Now you want to do the same thing again. You want to go to the Y view or the X one, whichever it is, I don't know. Then you want to hit U and project from view, and then again you want to project the texture properly. You want to edit the vertices. Remember, if there are more vertices, there are going to be more areas you can cover. But for now, this is what it looks like. I'm just gonna make it just look just about right, as I think this looks like a tree. I want to scale it up a little bit so that it's a little bit longer, a few inches longer, and then, well, do the texture transparent thingy. You want to go into the shading and change the blend mode and stuff. And now you want to shift D and again duplicate the entire thing. You want to create multiple iterations of the tree mesh, the singular plane, and then you just want to give it that depth of sort of 3D, that it's completely not 3D. Don't worry, we're going to be creating completely 3D trees just in a second, but this is the most basic way that you can create a tree that looks just about right from the distance. And I would recommend you using this because this looks much more authentic compared to fully scaled actual 3D trees. If you're like making a forest that has a lot of trees, then this is the way to go. You can select a singular mesh and then right click, select the entire one, and then Control J to combine them all together. You want to do the same thing, create multiple meshes, multiple 3D meshes with add multiple texture. You can just copy the same one again and again and just make new materials for them, and this is the most simple way you can create foliage and trees. I'm going to be going into much more complex ways, but for now this is how you can do it. I'm going to create another one real quick just by duplicating the previous one, and this is about it. Now it's time for creating the distant foliage that you saw in my previous video. So for that, you want to create a cylinder. You want to change the fill mode so that the top parts are not filled. You want to scale it, just make it just about big because it's going to be having a panorama texture that's going to wrap around your scene. So you want to make it big. But for now, for the scene on Blender, I'm just going to keep it something that looks about right. On the game engine, we're going to, scale it again, but I have no idea how much you're going to be needing it, so just scale it accordingly. I don't know, just keep a constant idea that this is something I like. For me, I think I'm kind of fine with whatever I got right now. So I'm going to select a material for this one. I'm going to apply the panorama texture that I downloaded and realize it looks like shit. So go into the UV editing mode again. Now don't hit project from view anymore. Just select everything by hitting A and then scale it on the x-axis to just, make it look right. I think I scaled it too much. I'm going to select A to on this side. I'm gonna hit A to select everything again, and then again I'm gonna just scale it until it looks nice. I'm also gonna scale it on the y-axis to sort of do this, and then I'm gonna take it upwards by selecting everything. Make sure to hit A on your keyboard to select every single thing, or otherwise you will not see that. If you want to do it again, go to edit and then again just edit. You can go into edit by hitting tab. That's a simple way, and as you can see, this is just about right. This is a good enough looking panorama. You can create multiple versions of this with multiple panorama textures you can get from texture.com or Google, but this looks just nice for now. Okay, following these techniques, I created these other things. I'm gonna Control J this, and other foliages, different foliages. For example, this wheat texture, this grasses, flowers, and stuff. Okay, so now we're gonna be taking a look at how you can create a bit more advanced looking PlayStation 1 style tree. So there are multiple versions you can do, but I'm gonna show a version that's gonna look similar to the previous one, but it's gonna have individual tree trunks and like the full leaf parts and stuff. For now, let's just get started. So the first thing is to again create a plane mesh. I'm gonna again rotate it by 90. I'm gonna take it on the top here a little bit. I'm gonna go onto the scaling tab. I'm gonna scale it up and scale it on the y-axis a little bit. I think this looks about right. Again, I'm gonna go into the modifier tab. I am gonna add in a solidify modifier to fix the back face culling issue, and this should be about right. I think this looks just about right. I'm gonna go on the top, duplicate that, rotate it on the 90 again. Looks fine. Again, do that. I'm gonna create some intersections here and there. Duplicate that as well, and do this. Yeah, this looks just about right. So, oh no. Oh my god, I shouldn't have done that. Sorry. So, okay, so once the plane is ready, we're gonna add in the texture to it. We're gonna create a texture, call this tree. I'm gonna call this tree top actually. And then I'm gonna go into this, hit an image texture up, open up an image texture. So I'm just gonna try to find where I kept my stuff. I'm really not sure where I kept it though. Where is it? Oh, Foliage PS1 on G location. Foliage PS1, there we go. Okay, so here's my texture set. I'm gonna select a tree texture to be used. There are a lot of here. I'm gonna pick something that looks about right. I'm gonna pick this one up. So now you get a material preview. It looks weird. We're gonna go into the UV editing tab, and then we're gonna hit go into the X view. Again, we're gonna go into material preview. Hit U while everything's selected. Hit A to select everything. Then hit U on your keyboard, and you should get this unwrapping menu again. Project from view, and you got it. Now go over to this side. Hit A to select all the vertices, and then S to scale them. Also gonna use G to grab it and then just center it up a little bit. You can do that by the move tool as well, but this is what I find pretty useful. So select it all again. This time we're not gonna leave the trunk outside, but instead we're gonna just take this area, take it to the top like this. So I'm also gonna select this part. We're gonna go as top as possible without cutting the leaves off, and this is just about right. I think this looks just about right. And I'm also gonna make sure that it's transparent. We're going to the shading, connecting the alpha. Okay, so our leaves or the top parts are ready. Sometimes you might see these weird looking artifacts on the top. To fix this, you might want to go over here and see, as you can see, it's going outside just a little bit. We want to just drag that down a little bit, and that should fix your issue for now. And looks just about right. Now what we're going to do is to again duplicate that, rotate it by 90 degree, and we have a three-dimensional treetop. We're gonna again duplicate that, create some tiny intersection areas for this. Again, do that. So once we're done creating the top part, this looks about right. So as you can see over here, it looks a bit weird because of this area. It's very it's a bit weird. It's not connecting on the middle. So we're gonna just select everything. We can Control J it now, or we can just keep it down for later on. But I'm gonna just Control J to attach everything together. And since all of these have the same UV, when you go to the UV editing and hit A on this part to select everything, you should still get something like this. So now what we're gonna do is to drag and select these lower vertices here, and as you can see, like this, we're gonna drag them until all of these are sort of like in with it together. And as you can see, this part just got out a little bit. I'm just gonna fix that real quick and do this. There might be some artifacts here and there, over there. So you want to fix that a little bit. It's again weird looking. You can scale it up, so you can just scale it down a little bit and do this to the area. As you can see, it looks about right now. It's fine. This is fine. This is optimal. And also you can go to the material option. We can turn up the roughness, and over here we can turn down this to give it a flat look, like I said before. Now we're gonna go to the layout. We're gonna select this and go to the move tool. We're gonna move it upwards a little bit. Now we're gonna add in a simple cylinder. So once you add the cylinder, we can scale the cylinder down. We go to the top view to have an idea. I think this looks about right. Now, as you can see, oh, actually, no, not like this. We're gonna add in a cylinder now, and once you do that, go over here to the add cylinder option, and we can drag this vertices option down. I think something like 7 looks about right. You can also go for like 5 or 6. 5 is also nice. I think 5. I'm gonna go for 5. So once that is done, we're gonna hit S to scale it down. Go to the edit mode by using tab, and then we're gonna select on this here, this option. You can also use the shortcut keys 1, 2, 3. Hit 3 on your keyboard, and then you should be able to select the faces. So once you've selected the faces themselves, now you're gonna want to go into the X view, and then you want to hit E on your keyboard and extrude this up towards the trunk area. This looks about right, I think. Yes, it's about right. So you can also select the down part. If you think that this is the extrusion is a bit too much, you can later down scale it down. But for now, I think this looks about right to me. So we got this extruded area. We can scale this just a little bit to fit it in. I'm gonna again do this, take it a little bit top, this looks about right. Now we're gonna again go to the edit mode with the cylinder itself. We're gonna select the top part here and scale it down, like scale that area by hitting S. And now we're gonna go in here, adjust this to the trunk area, and I think this looks nice. Now we're gonna select the trunk and give it the tree material, the tree top material. We can create a separate version of it. I think I shouldn't have called it tree top, but anyway. So we're gonna go into the UV editing mode as usual. While the trunk selected, hit tab to get into the trunks UV editing part. So for this one, we're gonna create in a separate material for this one. We're gonna create another one. We're gonna call this one tree bark. Now you can either use a different bark texture for this, or you can just use the one that's already on your full tree texture. So why I created this one is because I don't want this to be transparent. In some game engines, if you use the transparent shader without your actual model being transparent itself, without the actual, the model not using any transparent thing, it might cause some issues. So for now, just create another one. So once you do that, we're going to select everything again by hitting A, and this time again we're going to hit U and project from view, and that should give us something like this. So now grab it and just put it over here. So once you do that, so as you can see, there aren't a lot of space for us to work with. There aren't any intersections for this to work with. So for now, what we're going to do is to hit A on everything, Control R, take your cursor in the middle of it, Control R, and you should get this. And now you want to do is to increase your cuts by scrolling your mouse wheel. I'm just gonna get this much. I think this is about right. So once you do that, you should get this. Just hit your right click on your mouse button. You should get something like this. Oh wait, I'll be back in a minute. So as I was saying, select everything, go on to the 3 again, hit 3 on your keyboard, hit A on this side, and you should get this. Now what you want to do is select it all. You want to scale it and just get it just about the right size. And now you want to individually select these, hit G on your keyboard, S to scale, G to position them, and so on. You want to just you know, make sure that it fits the area and doesn't go outside of the trunk area. This can be avoided just by using like a dedicated trunk texture, but I just find this to be a bit more better looking because it already has all the things and characteristics to match up with the branches themselves. So for now, all you have to do is to just basically make sure you align these properly, and like this, and until this very part. Or so I thought. You might want to do this a little bit. So once you do that, you may realize that some parts don't look correct. Some do, some don't, but this is very much doable for me. I think this looks just about right. Some parts might not look good, but I think this is a very simple way. It's a bit advanced, but it's a bit more simple on the more beginner-friendly line. I think this looks good. This is going to be an entire tree. You can select this. You can just poke it around like this. It looks fine. Angle it up a little bit until I find something that looks just about right. You can also go into one vertice, Alt Z to go into the transparency mode, then shrink this part down like this to again just angle it up a little bit. Okay, this looks good. I'm gonna again scale this branch itself down a little bit so that it just fits. So yeah, everything looks just about nice as you would expect. This is good. This is good. Select everything, Control J, and you should have yourself a very sort of like a basic looking tree that looks you know, doesn't look necessarily that bad. It's just it's good looking. It's not that bad. It's about as basic but advanced as you could get. I'm gonna show you another method which is the best one so far, and I personally use it for my game, but this is a very good looking tree. This is good. You can export it, use it on your project. This is great. So for the final tree that I'm gonna show now, delete everything. This time we're again gonna add in a simple like cylinder. or maybe you can actually add anything you want. A square would be fine too, but I'm gonna just add in a cylinder. So with 5 vertices packed, we're not gonna change anything. I'm gonna shrink it down, not that much though. So we're gonna hit edit on the tab. We're gonna hit 3 on our keyboard to get in the face. We're gonna also turn off the X-ray thingy. So now go on to the X part, and now what you want to do, extrude it up a little bit to just get started. Shrink it down. Now you wanna just hit control, press on control and right click around like this to create individual branches. Now to be able to continue this, you want to do is to hit 2 on your keyboard to select the edge loops. You want to hit Alt on your keyboard and Z, Alt Z together to try and turn on that on. And as you can see, it is working. You can see through them, it is working. So hit 2 again, and now while tapping on Alt, holding Alt, you want to left click on this area to select the entire edge loop. Now you want to hit F on your keyboard. You might not think that nothing happened, but it just filled up this area. So when you go to 3 now, you should have, as you can see, there's a particular area that you can select here. So when you select this area, now you can hit the same control and left right click on your mouse to extrude from this area as well. You also want to go again onto 2, Alt, select this, scale this branch down, you know, because it's way too big. Also do this. Just want to adjust it. Hit Alt, select like this, like this, like this. Scale it down. I mean, you can also hit G, hold G, tap G, and just fix that if you don't find it to be on the right place. Also go into the Z on your view and do this to create some, individual areas like this to add some variety on your tree. Like this, you can create multiple different versions, multiple different areas. You can also do this. Hit F to fill that up, 3, and you should be able to select this area. Now, again, I'm gonna scale this up a little bit. Down that hatch. Gonna go to the 2 again. Do this. So like this, you can create a very basic looking tree, which can be then later used as a particularly interesting tree itself. So again, go to 3, go select this area, Alt C to again turn off the X-ray. You can also do it from here. Select this, Control R, and make some other areas that you can select. You just hit that. Then you can you want to go into 3 again, select this again, or you want to select this one again in particular. Do this, have variety, G2, grab it, and then make more areas, more tree-like thingies coming out of it. I'm gonna again select the edge here. Go to the, it depends completely on how you want your tree to look like. You can just edit it all you want until you get something that you believe looks just about right. You can create multiple edge loops here and there, create multiple areas that your branches can grow from. Oh no. No. And for now, I think this looks about right. You can get very creative with this, but I'm not in a mood for that, so I'm gonna just hit this. I'm gonna just call this one a sort of a tree, like this selector. So yeah, I think this looks about right for me. I would not definitely will not call this a very idealistic tree, but you get the idea. This is for now. This is just for our tutorial itself, so I'm not gonna be going all out on it like this. This is about right. So now what you want to do is just keep selecting on this. What you want to do is to get here on the mesh. You want to add in a plane. So for this particular plane, what we want to do is we want to go into this here, scale it up a little bit, shrink it down a little bit, and before we do anything, we want to, I'm gonna hide this one so that we can see the plane properly. I'm gonna go in this one, move it on the near the 3D cursor. This is very important. Do not miss this step. If you do, your tree is gonna look very weird. We're gonna go to the object, set origin to 3D cursor. Once we do that, it's about right. And we're also gonna go into here, plane, modify, solidify. Do this so that the model is solid and the back face culling issue is not present there. Again, go into the material. This time we're going to create a leaf material and download a transparent leaf texture from the textures.com website. I've got one here. This is a very good one. I would like to use this one. So once you do that, it looks like this. It's okay if it looks a bit weird. You can scale it like this and then shrink it down. And you also want to change this into alpha like this. Go into the shading tab. Alpha from here. Okay, this is fine. We're gonna go into the UV editing once more, even though it looks fine. I'm gonna do this, select these areas, and I'm gonna stick them till they just reach the branch here. You can also to add a bit more realism, you can just change this pivot point to there, like, you know, just like select everything, do this and like that. Yep. Okay, like that, our tiny little tree branch is ready. So we're gonna scale it up to just make it look about right. So now what we want to do is to select the actual tree trunk. We're gonna add in here under the particles. We're gonna add in a particle system. But before that, we actually might want to add in a vertex group here. I'm gonna call this one a vertex group, and go to the vertex group itself. So for the vertex group, you want to go into the edit mode, and then Alt Z, like this. Go to the top. You can hit W on your keyboard twice to get this thing, and you can just select the branches like this, only the areas you would like the leaves to spawn in. You can also hit shift to select all of them together. You can also hit control to deselect certain parts that you would not like the things to spawn in. Some parts I would like to, some parts I would not, so I'm just gonna do this. It looks about right. So on the vertex group, while this group being selected, hit assign. So it looks about right. You can also go into the weight paint section to see this. You can also individually paint some areas on the vertex group as well, but I think this looks fine. The automatic one looks fine. You don't really need to add too many details. So now again, go back into the object mode, go into the particles tab, create a particle. So we're going to create a hair particle. For this one, we're going to hit advanced, and from the advanced, we're going to go down to the renderer tab. So renderer from path, we're going to set to object. And as for the instanced object, I'm gonna select this plane. So as you can see, it looks a bit weird, but don't worry about it. We're gonna go to the vertex group, and for the this thing, we're gonna select the group one. As you can see, it looks about right. Oh no, I think we did a mistake. We're gonna go into the vertex paint. No, wait. Let me just paint. So as you can see, I don't want this area to be on the area for the leaves to spawn in. I'm gonna fix this, not make the leaf spawn over there. So once that is done, we're gonna go back to the object mode, particle, again particle, hair, path, no, not path, object, select the plane, looks about right. You wanna hit advanced so that you can change it up later on. So for this, we get the group. Yes, the group. So once that is done, now we can just scale the areas. Also from here, the number to 10, I guess 10 looks about right. Increase it something like this. Yeah, this looks sort of okay. Yeah, I think it looks fine. So over here, the randomization for the scale, we're gonna do this. Hit scale, randomize. It's gonna automatically randomize it for us like this. Doesn't look the best, but trust me, trust the process, it's gonna look good. We're gonna go over here to some other things. Rotation, random Z rotation, global Z, and then hit randomize. and that should give it a more tree looking look. And we're gonna again set the scale randomization from here. Scale, increase the scale from there. And this looks a lot more like a tree than before. Okay, this is better. So I think this is right. You can change the seed around to get a little bit of an area. Here's the hair length, which can determine how long your hair is gonna be. It's not a hair, but it's basically what it is. So here's the number. You can increase the number. I think something like this looks about right. Increase the hair length a little bit for the randomization. A little bit of randomize. Change the faces until you think you have something that looks just right. So once that is done, what you want to do is this is done. Now we're going to go to the modifier tab, and from here select it and make instances real. Once you do that, you will have a bunch of these planes all together. So what you want to do is to select one from here, hit shift and select one, or maybe select something in the middle and then hit Control J, and all of these should come together like this. Oh my god, that looks weird. Okay, so this is the one. Okay, these are all together. So once you do that, you should have this tree. I'm gonna just gonna go down here, delete that. So these are all the particles that came to be real, like this, and voila, that's ready. This is the one that we don't need. We delete that, and like this, we have our foliage ready. I can select this and the tree trunk together to combine them together. But before that, I just want to assign a bark texture to it. A bark texture to it, not a gradient, sorry. Image texture, foliage. From here should have a bark. Here we go. And if you see the texture being weirdly stretched out, you want to select it all, hit A, U, again cube projection, and that should be just about fine. If it looks a bit weird, then you can just go here, scale it up, make sure to use seamless textures, otherwise it will look weird. And that should be it. You have your very own PS1 styled, very low effort, low poly, whatever you want to call it, type of tree. This is how far we will go into the tutorial. I will not be showing any more ways, because this is the very easiest way to create a sort of like a retro looking tree. And honestly, this is the best you can do just to get, you know, this weird looking you know, get this art style correct. Okay, so that's it. You can do more with this. You can create multiple iterations of it. Various different textures can be used, but this is the very basic way of doing it. You can also change, you can downsample the textures and crunch them up a little bit, but this is just about right. This is looking good, and very much, this is fine. Okay, so one final thing that I will show you is downsampling your images. You can use Photoshop or any other software. For me, I'm using this online free image resizer, and I am downsampling my textures, which means basically just lowering their resolution so that we can have a bit more like that low resolution texture. So you can use any software you want. I'm going to use this one. I'm going to just download this low resolution one, and as you can see, this is the one that we're currently using. This is the one with the lower resolution. So this looks much better than the previous version, which had a lot of detail to it. So just like that, you can do that. It's up to you. You can do it by default on the game engine itself, but yeah, you can also do it in here. And now here is another software. This is the color quantizer, and this actually allows you to limit the amount of colors a specific model can have, as a specific texture can have, and it can also help you adding dithering to your certain textures. You can add dithering to almost any textures with this software. It's a bit old, but it just gets the job done. It allows you to limit the amount of colors your textures can have, and also, like I said, allows you to add the dithering. You can just edit the dithering from here. It's pretty basic and straightforward. Do your thing, apply, and then just go ahead and hit save on the save icon, and just you know, I'm going to replace this one and save, overwrite that, and as you can see, it's done. Now I can go into Blender and find the texture. As you can see, it has dithering, a bit more dithering, and it's also pretty downsampled. You can do this with anything you want. For example, I'm going to change the bark texture as well, I can also limit the color here. You can also previously edit it on an image software and image editing software and increase the contrast or saturation or something. Like I said, this is not that necessary if you're using a game engine, but if you're doing it for Blender or some sort of scene or something, then I would definitely tell you to do that. So once that's done, I'm gonna open the bark texture that I newly created, and it looks kind of weird. All you have to do is to change the filtering to closest, and as you can see, it gets that crisp and sharp point filtering of the PS1 style. No filtering at all. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And you can also turn up the roughness and turn this specular thing down to give it more flat look. And I would tell you to do that, or you can just create a custom shader or something. But yeah, that's the entirety of it. That's basically how you can create a sort of like a PS1 style foliage tree. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.